Introducing. First of all, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning, very good afternoon, and very good evening to all of you guys who joined us in this enthusiastic night or day with our beloved Mr. Luis Gonzalez. And I would like to appreciate all of the attendees who are very keen to understand and would like to know more about this session and this webinar. Luis Gonzalez is a renowned author, entrepreneur, and management consultant known for his expertise in organizational development and leadership. He is the author of the best-selling books, Organizational Mastery, Adapt, and Product First, which have helped countless organizations improve their digital product delivery capabilities and achieve their goals. With over 20 years of experience in this field, Senor Luis is considered an authority on organizational design and agility. He's a frequent speaker at industry conferences and events. He's passionate about helping leaders of digital product organizations reach their full potential and has a proven track record of success. Please join me and welcome Mr. Luis Gonzalez. Floor is yours, Mr. Luis.
Thank you so much, Azem. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and I really need to learn your skill set of how to present people. It's a you present myself much better. You present me much better than myself. So thank you so much for this nice, awesome presentation introduction. So thank you so much. Yes. So thank you for having me here. I really want to share a topic that I'm very passionate. Just as a small introduction, it's just for you to have a small idea. One of my friends asked me, Luis, how long did it take to write your last book? And basically I said, well, it took me 6 months. And the guy said, oh, only 6 months. Yes, it took me 6 months, but basically it took me almost 20 years to get the knowledge to actually be able to share that knowledge with people. So today it's an honor to be here, especially for Saudi. Most of you don't know, but I have a very special connection with Saudi. Before COVID, I spent several months working with a couple of companies in Riyadh. So it's a very special country for me. Was always very welcome there. So without any more delay, I want to introduce the topic for today. And let me share my screen. And please let me know if you...
Yeah, we can see it.
You can see the big one, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So this talk today will be how to really change a company from project-centric to more product-led organization. So I want to be very clear. My goal today is not to provoke anyone, and it's not saying that project is bad and product is good. No, farther from it. But my idea is to share some ideas that a lot of companies are still doing digital products, thinking a little bit in a project mindset, and I want to help people to really start getting some ideas, some tools to really start thinking maybe more as a product, and that's the reason why we are here. So as Asem said, I wrote a couple of books, and the first gift for you is just because you are here, you get a copy of it. So if you take a scan it, if you do the QR code, you can immediately download the book for you. So it's a small present that I have for you guys. Go for it, and it's a small present. So I want to start this webinar with a very provocative question. I would like you to think, if you have a project that's on time, with quality, on budget, if this is a successful project, okay? So this is something that I want to pose here for you. And most of you by definition, will say, yes, that's a successful. Everything that is delivered on time, with quality, with budget, it's a successful project. But I want to challenging you. Everyone has a phone nowadays. So I want to pose a question for you. Will you use an app on your phone, software on your PC that will be done on time, with quality, within budget, but doesn't solve any of your daily problems, doesn't solve any problem whatsoever? Will you still install that app on your phone? So that's the challenge that I want to pose to you, right? So why I pose this question is exactly to make you think. Maybe it's not enough to think on time, on quality, on budget. So there is something else more important, or not more important, but not enough to actually deliver something interesting, something profitable for our customers. And of course, creating value for our customers creates money for us. So a lot of people ask me, Luis, what is a project company and what is a product company, right? So I have this infographic here for you. I don't want to go too much in detail, so you have the URL there if you want. It's a blog post that I wrote, and it's really go deep in detail. But I want to go a little bit fast in this infographic, but I want to leave you with some ideas. Project usually use traditional budgeting. Good product company use lean budget. So instead of assigning budget to a project, you assign, or instead of using traditional budgeting, you use lean budgeting. Basically, lean budget sponsors you the product as a value stream, opposed to traditional budgeting that all departments have their own budget. Project versus product, defined by outputs, define how it solves the customer. So for example, a lot of our companies, unfortunately, they are very focused on the output. So delivering story, delivering features, but it's not very uncommon that we actually spend months delivering features and doesn't really solve any problem to our customers. So instead of really thinking about just producing outputs, what's the business impact that we are causing to our customers, right? What's to our company? So what's the problems that we are solving to our customers? Fixed requirements versus adapt to changing needs. Project organizational, typical, we see ramping up teams, ramping down teams. A product-oriented company, we have much more kind long-lived teams where we have a product, we have a stable teams, we have stories, features coming into the backlog, and the team is very stable for several months. The project puts teams up, teams down. Project lead by a project manager, product lead by a product manager. The project usually has a beginning and it has an end, as the definition says. Product companies usually have a beginning, but the product, it takes much longer until it reaches the end of this life cycle, right? So it can last for several years, because until the moment that we are delivering value to our customers, we are keeping the product alive. Project sometimes doesn't give, it's not always possible to deliver value to the customers just with one single project. The product view is we always deliver value with the product as a whole for our customers. Changing process control usually is very strict. We even have in normal typical projects change steering committee, where every single change goes to steering committee. We decide if we can change it or not. So it's a very strict change process control versus involving needs that we are always changing the requirements. Value delivery at the end versus value delivery incrementally. And I want to, before you kick me, so it's not always true that the value is delivered at the end on project organization. So if you are a project organization, but you are actually using Agile methodologies, you can actually deliver pieces of the project, not at the end. You can start immediately delivering pieces in the beginning, but it's the overall picture, okay? Handed over to a business owner, continues to deliver to the customers. Learnings at the end, usually the post-mortem retrospective versus continuous engaging with customers, with the stakeholders, with teams, and always learning more and more. The reporting usually is more concerned with time, with budget, on the product is more metrics product oriented, so impact on the business. No concern so much about the data on the project, because when we do a project, we want to put a project out into the market, into the customer, and we are not really caring so much about the data. Product is much more concerned about the data strategy. How is our customers using our product so that we can generate really cool insights to really make it better. Traditional marketing for the projects, digital sales funnel for the products. And the last but not least is the organizational. Usually project is really around functional departments. You know, you have a project, you have people from IT, you have from QA, you have from UX, you have from whatever, and versus a mindset of product where you have a value stream, where you have a product and everyone is reporting to the head of product and everyone is inside of or under the product, but without departments. Okay, so if you want to have this link over there, you can go there and you have a much more detailed explanation. In case you don't know, I want to show you this slide. I'm pretty sure you remember this company. So if you don't remember anything at the end of this talk, at least remember these 3 next slides that I'm going to show you. I started my career in 2004 in this company. So when I joined there, Nokia was fabulous, was fantastic, was really, we had 94% market share. In 2004, we were doing $50 billion a quarter. So it was something, okay? 20 years ago, $15 billion a quarter. But what happened with a lot of arrogance? Lack of agility. And when I talk agility on the business side, not so much on the team level, because I started in 2004, as I said. And until today, 20 years later, I learned stuff on the team level, agility on the team level, that I don't see in many companies today. So they were really good on the team level, but lack of agility on the business level. This is what I want to say. And lack of a proper digital business model. Because if you think a little bit, Nokia was really great in selling hardware, phones, right? But, and this is my personal opinion, okay? Even if today they would able, and this is today's opinion, if they would be able to put a phone on the market that would be able to compete with iPhone on the hardware side and Android on the hardware side, they would still be dead. Because as you know, what really makes the Apple ecosystem and the Android ecosystem strong is exactly what I said. The ecosystem is the whole apps, the whole thing around the service on top of the hardware. And at that time, Nokia did not have anything whatsoever on this model. So of course, the giant collapsed. And why I showed these 3 slides for you, because I see so many customers when I join companies and customers tell me, we are too big, we don't need to care because we have so much money and we have so much market share that we do not have a problem, we will survive. And this is true. I see many customers telling me this. So remember, when we have Nokia, which was 120,000 people, 15 billion a quarter, 94% of the market share. In iPhone came in 2007, 2011, 12, they were completely dead, right, from the mobile point of view. So if in 5 years Nokia can go down, imagine what happened to any of our companies out there. So again, if you take one thing out of this talk today, remember, you are not too big to fail, okay? Everyone can go down and you need to think, what can you do to actually allow yourself and your company to really continue to grow? So I talk a lot and I wanted to share now a story, because this webinar is about project to product. So, and a lot of people, or we as humans, identify ourselves with stories. So I want to share a concrete story of a transformation that I did with my team in 2018. I'm not sure if Metro is known in Saudi Arabia, but Metro or Macro, is there Metro, Macro, Azam? You can just move your head. Macro, is there something? Okay, so it's much more in Europe, Asia, and South America. So Metro is a retail company. Okay, so it's a supermarket where basically their specialty is hotels and restaurants. So business owners of hotels and restaurants, they can go there. There is a huge diversity. And Metro was one company that I tried this first project to product approach many years ago in 2018. These guys had 2,000 software engineers, so there was not 2,000 people, 2,000 software engineers, and they has $2 billion revenue budget to manage. So it's a really big complex. So why I'm showing this is because if we can do this with this size of companies, we can do with any company, right? So when we arrived there, we had too many silos, huge lack of agility, very small, and a very toxic political environment. And no one is hearing us right now, and this is not happening in our companies, right? But usually, sometimes when we work with companies, we have, or most of the times, we have all these silos organizations that actually will impact the agility, the speed, and it becomes a lot of a political environment, unfortunately. In Metro was not very different. They were actually measuring the whole success by the triangle. So what was happening is they were putting a lot of things out into the market, but companies or customers were not using it. So from the triangle point of view, yes, it was cool. They could put stuff out, but they were not having business impact. And I don't know if you know, but usually it's a very from software point of view, it's very common. 80-something% of the features that companies develop usually are never used by the customer. So this is not a very strange thing. It's a common thing in the industry. 80-something% of the features are not used at all by the customer. So imagine spending months of development, salaries, and so on, and then no one will ever use that and we'll never get the money out of it. Traditional budgeting process. So of course they were using traditional budgeting process, which means that every department had their own budget. This leads to not use the budget in a very optimized way. How many of you saw departments buying sofas or flowers to make sure that we spend the budget at the end of the year? Because if we don't spend the budget, we will end up not actually having the same budget for next year. So what I'm saying is it's a very lengthy process. Around in Germany, it's around September, October, we spend months filling up Excel files and trying to come up with numbers to not lose the money. And it's what most of project companies use, traditional budget process. And I'm going, of course, showing the whole alternatives. As I said, ramp up teams, ramp down teams. So it was a very project-oriented organization. So we had initiatives. So we were ramping up teams for initiatives. Those initiatives were solved. We put initiatives down, people down, and we would go round and around several months. And then again, 2,000 engineers. Imagine how much time we would spend building teams and destroying teams, building teams and destroying teams. All projects had a beginning and end, leading to a huge waste in the governance. So I remember it was very common before we could start any initiative or project. We would take several months, several weeks, at least a couple of months, to see what was the people that was free, what are the skill sets of people. So getting the approval, getting the architects to approve all the changes. And this is huge. So imagine having a beginning, having an end. Every time you start, you need a governance model to start or approvals chain, and at the end, a delivery point of a different part. So huge, you would spend huge amount of time on this. At this time, again, as I said in the beginning, does not need to be a project thing. If you are agile, doing agile, or being agile, you do not need to deliver at the end, but in this case, they were doing a lot of waterfall. So basically the whole value was delivered at the end, not at all in the beginning of the project. And the learnings were being done at the end without any innovation whatsoever. And this is very common in the project oriented. So if you think about your daily job, if you work in a project company where you are very concerned in delivering the project, you end the project, go to another project. You end the project, go to another project. You do not have usually the time to innovate. You do not have any time to think about it. Unless you think in the project in a way of, we want to innovate something and you create an innovation project. But usually from my experience, that never happens. So innovation is kind of on the side. So what did we do? So what can we do to solve all these problems? Very interesting and crazy approach. So we broke this company, these 2,000 engineers, into startups. So what we did was we identified different products, big products, and we broke those companies or these people into startups. And we got 12 startups, 12 products, 12 startups. Each startup had around 150 to 200 people. Okay, so some of them were bigger, some of them were smaller, but the idea is to this scale, because a lot of people believe or ask, how can we scale? How can we scale? How can we scale? And my personal opinion is we don't want to scale. We want this scaling first to break the complexity so that we can scale. If you have a startup with 150 people, it's much easier to actually create a really interesting product and create a business model to scale up that 150 people company than having 2,000 people and trying to scale a huge monster like that. So our approach was we descaled before we broke the company into startups, and we assigned products to the startups. Each startup had its own dedicated teams. So immediately there was not more these breaking up teams, ramp up teams, ramp down teams, ramp up teams, ramp down teams. Every startup had its own teams. They were dedicated to that startup and they were very stable. The success of the startups were defined by business outcomes using OKRs. So every time, and this is very honest, I'm being very honest. Every time I explain OKRs, and I will explain OKRs, every time I use OKRs in companies, I use the vision 2030, your vision, to explain how actually you guys are doing something unique in the world. Because OKRs are nothing more than objectives and key results. And what is this? This is a tool that companies have to translate the strategy into operations, into initiatives, and to deliveries, right? So in this case, we actually define a vision for the startups, a vision for the products, and we define objectives and goals for the products, and then we translate them into deliveries. Why did I talk about Saudi? It's very easy, because you are actually doing that. With the 2030 vision, we have all these initiatives all over the kingdom, right? Where you guys are all work towards that direction. And every company in your kingdom is kind of working towards that vision. It fits into one of these pillars, right? Now, then inside of those companies, you are implementing your products and your things related to the company, but you are taking this to a completely different level, something completely extreme, really crazy, but extraordinary, which is basic. Not only you are aligning a company, you are aligning the entire kingdom. I never saw anything like this before, right? And this was very clear for me in 2020 when I was working there. It was very impressive. So congratulations to you, because guys, you are really doing something extraordinary. So startups, OKRs broke these big companies in startups, products, and define strategic objectives for this product and startups, and breaking those into deliveries. Instead of having budgeting for all the departments, we gave budgeting to the startup. And basically what we were doing is we were giving money to those objectives. So every startup, as we have here, head of product A, B, C, whatever, you can see this as a startup, has its own budget. The head of a product would have a bag with money that would be able to pay all the expenses that he needed, salaries, whatever, right, to put that product into the market. So every 3 months, and of course, I forgot that usually OKRs work every 3 months. So every 3 months, you can select a new kind of OKRs for the next quarter. So imagine now you have this flexibility of having a company, a product, where every 3 months you get a bag to pay the salaries and to develop something. But every 3 months, you have the flexibility to change completely the direction of a company, right? So if you are planning to do something features, like for example, in the pandemic, I work with a customer where they were developing a digital banking, where they were developing a feature to split the money in the restaurants, right? Surprise, surprise, COVID came and everyone stayed at home. So what was the sense of actually developing something that would allow us to split the bill in the restaurant when we were closed at home? So because they were able to work in a very fast pace and change with OKRs, they were able to say, no, we are not going to do this money splitting into the restaurant. We can change the entire company to a payment on the PlayStation Store or the Xbox or whatever. So they were able to shift immediately the entire company in a very fast direction to a completely different OKR, right? So imagine budgeting 3 months, fully utilized. And another thing, sorry to interrupt, sorry to go back. But the thing is, now we see, for example, here, four products in an enterprise. You even have the flexibility to see every quarter, is this product really working? Is this giving money? Should we kill it? No, because this product will give money in 6 months. Okay, so let's keep it. And after 6 months, did it work? No, so let's kill it. And immediately you can kill that product. You distribute the people throughout other products, and the money that you were spending there, you can immediately inject in some other product. So you have huge flexibility on the enterprise level. So this is what we use enterprise agility, because with lean budgeting, OKRs, and value streams, you can really take a company to a completely different dimension on when we talk about agility. All startups took into consideration the cost of delay. So the cost of delay is a very simple concept that basically you are able to calculate how much money you are losing per week for not having this feature on the floor, or sorry, on the street, right? So imagine, if we would have this feature, our customers would pay us $5 more. So you basically calculate how many customers that they would be paying, and for every month that you don't put this feature out, you can see how much money you are losing. So it's a very interesting metric to take into consideration. We were able to implement communities of practice for each startup, because we don't want to go into a silo departmental organization to a product organization and create the silos within those products. So what we did is we create communities of practice. Communities of practice is a group of people that come together to discuss interesting topics. Like, for example, community of practice of Scrum Masters, product owners, project managers, QA, developers, architects. So you can create a community of practice of all these people, okay? So imagine that you have product A discuss best practice on QA. So why not sharing the best practice of product A with the product B and product C and product D? And with that approach, you can guarantee that you have horizontal knowledge spread all over your enterprise. This, of course, helped a lot with the learning, because we were learning quite often, and we had frequent incremental innovation. Why? Because we implemented at the same time product discovery. So product discovery is a very interesting process that usually is the team, the UX team, that is responsible for it, together with the product owners, of course, and product managers. But the product discovery is basically a process where a team is ahead of the development, discovering what the market wants and creating prototypes and validating with the customers, so that when we take that into development, it's already validated by the customers. This is what they want, and they should implement that so that the customers will have that. And with that, we can have a lot of incremental innovation. But be careful, because I see disruptive innovation is something that can go into a business model, and there is incremental innovation, something that is very small innovation within the product. But if you have this product discovery, you can always think in new things, new ways of improving your product, new ways of doing stuff inside of your product, validating with your customers during the product discovery and bringing to the development phase. And of course, because we were working in Scrum with agility and OKRs, we were having the possibility to deliver a lot of value to the customers. All this was done with this blueprint. So this is one of my books. Again, QR there, website there. So if you want to download, go for it. You can do it. And this picture shows exactly that. So on the left up, you have 1 year company objectives. You broke those 2,000 people into products. The money sponsors the startups. Startups have the OKRs planning for the quarter. Then you have normal Scrum Agile development. At the end, you have a retrospective and the innovation. Innovation, usually we used Google Design Sprint to validate ideas from the product discovery. And because we did always this on the last 2 weeks of the quarter, we can validate ideas and immediately build the objectives for the next quarter and fit everything together. In the middle, you have communities of practice, and then you have something that I did not explain here, but I can, organizational impediment board. What is that? Organizational impediment board was a Kanban board where we collect all the organizational problems. So for example, your teams do retrospectives, you can do retrospectives on the organizational level, but a lot of times you do retrospectives and those topics get lost, especially on the teams. Teams do a lot of retrospectives, but they don't have a way to make transparent to the rest of the organization the problems that they cannot solve within the team. So you can create organizational impediment board where it's kind of a product backlog for impediments, where you have your executives taking a look into the problems of your organization. And with that, you are able to improve the organization as a whole. So when we implemented all this, we were able to improve the time to market. We were able to improve profitability. Of course, we made much more money with less expenses, and the customer satisfaction was really high because, and the stakeholders especially, right? Because we were finally delivering something that the stakeholders really wanted and the customers were happy. But something was missing, right? So to really have a true digital product organization, something was missing. We did not have a way to attract, educate, inspire the customers in this digital era, because basically we were using the same old-fashioned advertisement, flyers, paper. So we did not have a way to attract customers. We did not have any data strategy in place. So a lot of people were using our products, but we did not have a clue how they were using. And then COVID came. So during COVID, I had the time to think a little bit, how can I actually use all this approach, all these ideas that I did in Metro and add something else? And that's why during COVID, I come up with this crazy idea, which is the adapt methodology. Basically, first pillar approach. So how do we create a very strong content strategy for our product so that customers can come into our website, can get educated on their current problems, on the biggest problems, and we can solve them, leading them to our product. Data. So what is the strategy? Data strategy. Agility. So how we build a very agile company. Product strategy, and transformation, which is basically the blueprint that I showed a couple of slides ago. Okay, again, you can take it and download it. As a result of implementing this methodology, usually people get very recognized. The profit increased tremendously because you can generate much more leads in a much cheaper way. You started to deliver products that customers love, and your expenses on development side goes usually down. So you have total alignment as well, and happy employees, because basically, finally, people really started to do something that they see the impact on the market. And of course, the overall outcome is building products that people love. On this presentation, I talked you about agility, product, and transformation, but I want to share a little bit more here on the approach. So imagine Metro. How could we actually, for you to understand and to grasp what is this creating content? How could Metro, for example, create this approach pillar? Very simple. There is one company in Europe, a French company called Roi. They sell construction material. So everything which is for housing, painting, whatever, they have this stuff. So what they do, it's very simple. They have a huge YouTube channel explaining how to renovate a door, how to put a window, how to put everything what you are thinking about to do some stuff at home. They have teach yourself videos, do it yourself videos. Now imagine when you look for something, how to renovate a door, you have a step-by-step guide by them teaching you step-by-step how to renovate the door. And guess what? After the video is over, by the way, here is the material that you need for this video. Click the link and truth. You are driven to the web shop where you can basically buy entire material, all the material that you need to do the renovation. And they do the same. They do workshops live, all different types of construction, all different types of renovation. So this is a way that you actually can create content, blog posts, how to solve problems, videos, how to solve problems, so that you can engage and educate people. Because nowadays, you know, you go and buy a car, most probably you know more about the car than the guy that is selling the car. Why? Because you already search on the internet, you saw everything from the web, you search everything in the web, and you know everything about the car. So when you go to the dealership, most probably you know more about the car. So that is what you guys need to think from company point of view, product point of view. How can we inspire these customers to how to inspire them, how to educate them so that they can come to us and make it easy for them to purchase something. Okay. So in my case, it's very easy. I have blog posts, infographics, a podcast, weekly videos. I have white papers, I have case studies, and then I have my consulting programs and so on, so on. So, but I never sell consulting to people that don't know me. Usually people check my blogs, they should check webinars like this one, they listen to my podcast. So it's very easy then for people to get acquired or get acknowledged or educated on my content and then come to me. And it's exactly the same for you. So how can you think in a strategy that you can apply in your product? Okay. The data pillar was very, very similar in Metro. So the data pillar, they started a program when I left and my team left that basically was measuring the customer onboarding experience. So they knew that if I think it was the first 4 weeks, if the customer would not buy something, you would immediately drop it. You would never become a repeated customer. So they analyzed all that data and they were able to generate insights that if they spend X amount of money, they will become a very loyal customer. So the whole onboarding experience became very important in a way that they would help the customer to spend money so that they would become loyal. That was one way that they started to use data and started to generate much more money. Second one was they started to use the weather forecast to manage stocks. So imagine in the winter, in Saudi, it's a little bit different. It's hot almost all the year, but in Germany, not that much. So in Germany, they started to measure, for example, it's coming a very, very, very hot week ahead. Let's put a lot of beer in our warehousing. So let's take other products that don't make so much sense with the hot weather. Let's free up the space and let's bring beer, juice, water, whatever, right? So they use all this data. They combine weather data with storage, and they were able to create really cool algorithms to give more money or give more products to the customer, guarantee that the products would not run out, making more money and saving space on the warehouses. And this basically is the whole 5 pillars methodology that that can help you to think about all these strategies. So again, the summary of everything of what I told you. It was almost 45 minutes speaking here non-stop. So I hope that you enjoyed, but this is basically summarize everything. Again, the blog post tells in much more detail all these 15 topics. And if you want, you can just connect in LinkedIn. There is no problem. I would love if you would contacted me, if you added me. And if you want to take any questions, I will reply to questions here. So I'll be here to reply to any questions. But if you want as well, 30 minutes with me, if you want, just go and book a call with me and I'll be here more than happy to answer any questions. Of course, again, I'll be here with you guys, but if you have any more private questions, go for it. So that's it. Thank you so much. Hazim, I think it was, 45 minutes. That's what I said it would take. I hope it was useful. Sorry if it was too long, but I think it's a pretty good summary for people. And again, I'm not here telling you that project is worse than product. No, it's not like that. Project, if you build a house, you always need a project. You are not treating a house as a product. If you build a oil well to extract oil, it's not a product, most probably. It's a project. So I'm not telling project is better than I'm not saying product is better than project, but just wanted to give you a different point of view, especially for digital product development.
Thank you, Mr. Luis, for this fruitful session. And actually, we are having 3 questions now. And the first question is from Enrico. And it says, could we then surmise that a project is traditional waterfall methodology versus product in agile methods? Thank you.
No. So that's one of the things that I said during the entire webinar. There are a lot of project companies doing projects. So for example, I'm a company, a consulting company. One of my businesses, I help companies with software development in Portugal. So we don't work in product, we work in projects, right? So we deliver projects to customers, they want something and we deliver to them. But we developed in Agile. So we are actually doing initiatives. We are doing a project with a beginning and end to give to the customer. But within the project, we develop it in Agile way. So that's what I said during the webinar. Be careful. Project does not mean waterfall product agility, okay? So it's a whole bunch of things, and that is one, the delivery, the way how to deliver software. It's something that you need to take into consideration, but you can be a project organization and using Agile without any problem, and you should, right? Because it's in software development, it's a complex world, so it's proven that it should be agility solves a lot of the problems.
Okay, thank you for answering this question. The second question is from Ahmed Bazzi. How can OKRs be used to foster a culture of transparency and accountability within a company?
That's a very good one. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So first of all, OKR is a tool, right? So OKR will never force anything if the culture of the company does not want, okay? So if the leadership doesn't have the openness to really create a transparent culture, it will not happen. So a tool is just a tool. But what OKR does is, if the leadership has that willingness, then OKR is very cool, because the way how OKR works is the objectives are very, very transparent for everyone. So the OKRs have like several levels: company level, or even better, 1 year goals usually, company level, middle teams level, middle management, and teams level. And everyone has knowledge of what are everyone's goals. So even if you are a cleaning lady and you have OKRs, you can know exactly what the CEO is doing and is working, and vice versa, right? And if you do it properly, you should define OKRs on the product. So when you define an OKR on the product level, you have like a kind of hierarchy, and everyone knows how to contribute, how is contributing to the bigger goal in the organization. And because it's transparent, no one wants to be the bad guy. So no one wants to be the lazy. So it kind of helps everyone to kind of work harder. It's my opinion, because they want to show their work. So being transparent with the leadership support and using OKRs, being a transparent tool, that's a great way to actually create a work of transparency and collaboration, because everyone is involved in a bigger goal. OKR should not again be around department, because otherwise you are reinforcing these silos. OKR should be around the whole chain of the product so that everyone is contributing to the product. Okay? I hope
Okay.
I reply.
Okay, the other question comes from Mr. Enrico again. Do you have any tips on maintaining cadence in teams, especially in increment delivery? Is there such thing as an optimum team velocity?
No. So cadence, I reply to you during this webinar. You should have 1 year goals for the company. You should break this 1 year goals in 4 quarters OKRs. And within those OKRs, you should have sprints, usually 2 weeks. It's very, very cool. So you should have 6 sprints. That is a quarter. And then you have 4 quarters that maps to the 1 year sprint, to the 1 year goal. Velocity, you can never compare velocity, because velocity, it's very relative. I even was discussing this today with one of my customers, because imagine you have a team, velocity, for the ones that know, use most of the times story points. Story points, it's a relative unit, meaning that imagine a team that does a story that takes 3 days. They say this is a 5 story points, because the story points is for them just to understand and just for them to discuss. If you have a team next to it that takes 5 days, they still can do 5 story points, because the story points is not attached to the time. Story points is an internal measure for teams to know how to discuss complexity. So two teams are doing stories that one is almost double of other, but in story point level works exactly the same. So you should never compare velocity at all. Okay, so never do that. And if you compare velocity, remember what I told you today. If you are comparing velocity, you are comparing metrics that do not matter. You are comparing outputs, and you want to compare outcomes. Who cares if you have a team that delivers 2 times more stories than the other one, works 2 times more than the other one, but brings half of the money that the other one? Which one would you prefer to have in your company? The one that works 2 times more but doesn't deliver money to the company, or the one that works half of the other but delivers 2 or 3 times more money? Don't follow that trap. Never you need to start thinking in business impacts, outcomes, not outputs. Azim.
Okay. The other question comes from Imad Huwaidi. Why the 2 concepts work together? A project can deliver products. Maybe just a shift in the focus could help.
No, it's a project to not deliver products, because, or even better, a project could deliver a product. Yes, it could, but it's much more than that, because it's a whole mindset. Because when you run the stuff in the project mindset, you have most of these things that I told you. Organizational is not optimal. The budget is not optimal. The goals are goals for project and not for the product, so they are most probably will not have money goals aligned with everyone. And you can say yes, they will. My experience says it's very easy in the theory, but in the practice it's not that easy. So you can do it, because in reality it's what most of the companies are still doing. They are creating initiatives to deliver a bigger project, a bigger product. But the mindset will never change, because you need to change organizational transformations. You need to change the way how you operate. And just for the governance model is a huge difference, because one thing is having a beginning and end, and the bureaucracy that you have assigned to that, it's very different than if you have a continuous delivery thing. One thing is beginning and end. You need to do all this bureaucracy to bring people together and to deliver. Another thing is if you have everything stable and you are always running with the same people, you have lean budgeting that giving all the money that you basically know how to spend, and you just continue. You don't spend one single day discussing who is free, who is not free, what's the delivery mode, what's not the delivery mode. So you can deliver products with projects. It's what a lot of companies are doing, but that's why it's not working that well, because there's a lot of things around it that does not make you or allow you to make a very optimized way of working in your organization.
May I add a comment on that one? Because part of the large circle of the product life cycle, the inner circle, it's the project life cycle. Because the project life cycle, it is serving the product life cycle.
Yes.
But there are some activities and some engagement with the client, stakeholders, executive, where you could develop your product, and those activity part of the product life cycle. It's not part of the project life cycle. So
I'm not sure if I understood this question. So everything. So
consider like a big circle.
Yes.
It's a product life cycle.
Yes.
Okay. An inner cycle inside that, a smaller cycle called the project life cycle. And the project life cycle itself, the big purpose, which is the biggest circle.
Yes.
So it does make sense.
This is what most of the companies do, and this is what I say. It does not make sense, because you are just complicating. When you were talking about when you were just talking about, I have a question for, because I remember something. Imagine you deliver something, then it's delivered, it's over. Next project. Who will take care of bugs? Who will take care of problems of the project that was already delivered? You are already in other teams. You are already doing another initiatives. You are already doing another project. So you can do it, and this is what companies are doing. But you have so many issues. And those are the issues that companies are struggling and solving on the daily basis, right? So what I'm trying to present to you, it's a different way of thinking that removes a lot of the issues. It's perfect. Of course, it's not perfect. Nothing is perfect in this world, right? But is a way that, from my experience, and does not mean that it's always like this, okay? It works. It works very, very nicely, because you are able to do much more increments in a much faster way and much more stable way than all this beginning end, right?
Okay.
So your question is right, and it's true. Yes, you can do project, because a lot of customers, a lot of companies do that. They see big products as a part of, they compare it like, sorry, my comparison, but you could see almost a product as a program and have a bunch of projects delivering to a program. But this is the thing. It's a mindset that holds as a beginning and end. Your product is much longer than that. You need to really think a lot about it. And if you have a lot of small products, right? Sorry, a lot of small projects, who is responsible really to coordinate that? Who is responsible to think about the strategy of the whole? It's not that simple. Of course, you can come up with an answer, but it's very complicated.
Okay. We are having two questions from Ahmed Khalifa. Do you think deep IT technical expertise is needed to lead digital IT products as project managers or a product owner? Or only having communication, personal, and business skills is enough?
So actually, I have a very strong opinion on that. Usually, CTOs do not like to hear this. So I really think the technical people should not be leading anything on the product side. Okay, and that's a huge issue, because in traditional companies, usually it's the IT who drives everything, right? So you have the business guys. Hey, you have a business requirements, and dumps to the IT, and the IT will transform those business requirements in architecture and software requirements. And it's the CTO who tells who is available or is not available, right? So that's what happened in traditional organizations. But actually, there's so much things lost on the way that it's simply not the optimal way. So my optimal way, the way I see it should be, the business guys should drive everything because they understand the business, they understand the customers, they should drive, they should be the ones doing requirements in form of user stories, and the IT guys should be business enabler. I'm not saying that they are not important, far from it, they are extremely important, but they are not the ones driving the product. Product guys, usually business or sales guys, drive the product. IT enables the business with their developers.
Okay. The last question comes from Enrico again. And actually, I would like to appreciate you, Enrico, for your energetic participation. Is there other measures of value other than monetary in the context of BRM benefits realization? Thank you.
Can you repeat again
Is there other measures of value other than monetary in the context of benefit realization management?
I think there is a lot of ways to measure it. If you think about the product has a bunch of metrics, and you can use all those metrics to measure impact. If you are a website, total of or a digital product, retention, churn, burn, revenue per person, bunch of others. So I think there is, answer that question, I think there is a bunch of other ways to measure in the digital product, a bunch of other ways to measure the impact on the business, if I understood correct the question.
Okay. And by this, we have reached the end of our webinar session. First of all, I would like to appreciate all the participants with their energetic participation and popping all of those valuable questions, which enlighten me actually with more knowledge. And hearing the answers from Senor Luis, actually, it added a lot of value to all of us, how we need to change our mindsets from the waterfall, from the agile approach in projects, and what is projects and what is products. The second thing I would like to address that all of the QR box and all of the QR links that it has been shared by Mr. Luis, we will share it to you guys. Also, if you would like to have a strategic call with Mr. Luis, you can follow the QR link in order to have a one-to-one call, popping all of the questions, clarification, more elaboration. And Mr. Luis, you can arrange that call through that QR. And finally, I would like to appreciate Mr. Luis by himself for taking from his time 1 hour to deliver this good message, good material. Really appreciate it. And I hope that we could see you soon. And hope that you visit us in Saudi Arabia.
Another thing, I'll be in Riyadh in 3 weeks' time. So if you guys want to meet or something, just let me know. I'll be in Saudi for 2 or 3 weeks. So end of October, beginning of November. So if anyone wants to grab a snack, just let me know.
Yeah.
And I just put the URL for the link in the chat, so it's easier for everyone.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So everybody, if you'd like to have to schedule any strategic call with Mr. Luis, you could follow that link. And we reached the end. We reached. Sorry, again.
I just wanted to say thanks to everyone. So it was really, really nice to be here with you. I always love to have these sessions. So thank you so much for having me here. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Azim, for all the support. Thank you to the participants. Always, we start with 60 something, we ended up with 60 something. So it's usually a good sign.
Okay.
It's a good sign. So thank you so much for staying here with us, and I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope it was useful for you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. And actually, I will approach you because I have a lot of projects that I need to talk to you about. So I will schedule also a strategic call with you.
Hey, no problem.
So,
Okay.
and really, I appreciate your presence here, and thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, guys. So see you. Ciao, ciao. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.